One disagreement I have with most humans that have ever lived is their lack of a written language. I think that written language, or more specifically, the ability to communicate with people who have died long ago, is a really important thing for society. Without a written language, communication with those who have died can only really be done via people who are still alive and met these dead people when they were still alive, or via a lineage of relationships that spanned for multiple generations. That is, communication via a messenger, interpreter, or middle person. Without a written language, knowledge of the past is centralized to some degree with the elders of the society. If you are born into an oral only language society and want to know what happened before you were born, you are dependent on elders to tell you what happened, unless you become an archaeologist and seek to find your own answers. This dynamic centralizes knowledge of the past to the elders of a society, and I think that this is an issue. Centralization of knowledge allows those in possession of knowledge to use it for their own benefit, to push their own agenda, and to keep those younger than them ignorant. Centralization of knowledge requires those who have it to be near perfect individuals, and I do not think that it is a great idea to rely on such a thing for the preservation of freedom, equality, and solidarity. Written language and the promotion of literacy partially solves this problem oral only languages have. If you are a child in an oral only language society, you are only able to communicate with and learn from people who are alive, that is, those who can communicate with you orally. But if you are a child in a society with a written language and you have been taught literacy, then you are able to communicate with and learn from every single person who has written something down, on top of everyone who can speak to you orally. Of course, this communication only goes one way with those who are dead. They can talk to you via writing, but you can't talk back to them. The child who can read and write is not dependent on those who are still alive to learn things. They can learn things from those who have written things down. And depending how long this child's society has had written language for, they might have generations of people that they can communicate with that the children of an oral only language society cannot. The children of an oral only language society lacks this direct connection to past generations. They only have indirect connections to those who have died. They can only connect to those who died before they were born by asking those who knew them when they were alive, or knew someone who knew them when they were alive, etc. They need a messenger to speak on behalf of this dead person they seek to communicate with, and they lack that direct connection that written language allows. This is why I think written languages are so important for an anarchist society. They decentralize knowledge of the past, which stops elders from hoarding knowledge, constructing their own narratives about the past, and keeping those younger than them ignorant. These are all really important things for the maintenance of future people's freedom and equality, that is, the maintenance of anarchy. With everything I have said, you might understand why I am suspicious of oral only language societies. The way that they transfer knowledge of the past facilitates oppressive hierarchical or subordinating dynamics as knowledge becomes centralized among elders. Elders are in the position to construct narratives of the past that suit them, with the primary accountability being other elders. Minority opinions of some dead people can be intentionally forgotten rather than sincerely argued against if an elder chooses not to talk about them. All these minority opinions can be strawmanned by elders, making it easier for them to dismiss. Elders can pick and choose what they tell children to improve their own life rather than tell children what they believe to be accurate. The lack of a written language to me is a red flag and something I do not think is consistent with anarchism. Written language is not the only thing required for anarchy or the decentralization of knowledge, of course, but I think that it is an important piece of the puzzle for both. This is unless video and audio recording end up being able to preserve knowledge for generations in a way similar to written language. However, currently, I am not convinced that such recordings on their own are enough to make written language not necessary for anarchy. And the main point of this essay still stands if they do, that we should preserve knowledge in a way that allows future generations to have direct communication with us, even if it is only one-way communication.